Floyd Mayweather says Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford won't go past 5 rounds. Is this factual or big cap? What's good, y'all? It's your boy, Cardinal Ridge Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the big homie Floyd, 50-0 Mayweather. 51, I don't know how many victories he cheated his way to. Nah, I'm just playing. But the big homie Floyd Mayweather recently put out a statement, and he had a few things to say about the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Bud Crawford fight. Now, it was interesting what he had to say, because he said that he feels like this fight will definitely not go past 5 rounds. He said it's going to be a war, and he doesn't feel like either one of these guys is going to need to go past 5 rounds. I want to give my 2 cents on whether that is facts or cap.
Then just look at our temperaments. You see somebody try to push me or somebody fight harder, I fight harder, you know. And you look at him, you see if somebody try to push him or they try to fight harder, he start fighting harder. And, you know, he has pushback, I have pushback. And that's just a recipe for a great fight.
Alright, so why would Floyd Mayweather feel like this fight isn't going past 5 rounds? You know, everybody, I think, who's a fan of welterweight boxing, who's a fan of Errol Spence, who's a fan of Terence Bud Crawford, I think everybody involved in this fight, everybody watching it, everybody commenting and, you know, doing commentary on the fight, we all kind of feel the same way. Both of these guys are the best 2 welterweights of today. So when you put the best of the best into the ring together, normally you get a great fight. Now, sometimes you get a mate pack situation. Horrible. You pay all this money for a stalemate. And sometimes you get a legendary fight like some of Sugar Ray Leonard's old fights back in the 80s. Some of Ali's fights back in the day. Some of Mike Tyson's fights back in the day. Some of Roy Jones, Trinidad. All of these legendary names. Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. You got all these legendary names, and normally when they got into the ring with another legendary fighter, there was fireworks produced, and it was a fight everybody wanted to go back and rewatch, and everybody wanted to talk about, and everybody wanted to be involved with the history that was made surrounding those fights. And we don't get a lot of those nowadays. You know, you get some good fights. You get your Vasyl Lomachenko, Devin Haney fights. You get your Gervonta Davis fights. I don't know how historic the Ryan Garcia fight is going to be when it comes to history, but it's definitely in the history books when it comes to breaking that pay-per-view record that they set. Now, I don't know if that's a rewatchable fight, you know, because it was pretty much dominated on one side. I would never call Ryan Garcia at this point in his career a legendary fighter, but they had a mega fight. You know, you can't deny the fact that they had a mega fight.
When you come from being poor, you got some extra fight in your ass, man.
Now, we don't really get, once again, those legendary fights. I can't really remember a fight in the last 10 years that I could say, boy, that was a legendary fight. I want to go back and rewatch that 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times. Now, maybe in 10 years, you know, I'll feel differently. But right now, I can't even think of one for the last really like 5, maybe even 10 years that I want to just go back and rewatch and rewatch and rewatch. You know, the last fight that I rewatched, you know, more than 10 times was Manny Pacquiao and Eric Morales, Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Barrera, Manny Pacquiao, Oscar De La Hoya. I watched that so many times, it's ridiculous. Manny Pacquiao, Miguel Cotto, and Manny Pacquiao, Antonio Margarito. Now, you see a trend in all those. There were some legendary names, but they all had to do with Manny Pacquiao. And You know, that's sad, you know, that as a fan, you know, who loves boxing, that I can't really go back and watch any of these other fights because they're just not that entertaining to me when it comes to rewatching them. You know, there are some fights that were very entertaining in the moment, but I'm like, I don't want to rewatch that.
I'm about to be over with this in a minute, man.
Those Manny Pacquiao fights were so action-packed and entertaining that I had to stop watching them because I felt like I was going to burn myself out on watching them. But I've watched them so many times, I could probably tell you exactly what happened second for second if you was going to watch it. You don't even need the video. So, you know, I want this fight to be similar to that. I want this fight to be legendary. I want this fight to be something that is memorable for everybody for the next 10 to 15 years.
But then the OG don't want to listen to the young boy. When he trying to tell the young boy what to do, but he don't look the part. He don't smell the part. He don't live the part no more. How you expect the young G to listen to you? You still got to look the part because you don't want the young G to say, hey, yo, OG, you telling me how to do something, but it don't look like it worked for you no more.
You know, I hope both of these guys are in the gym training like that. You know, I hope both of these guys are taking it that serious and they're not just in it because they're going to get money worth of cashing out of the sport. You know, Maypac, those guys got more money in one night than they probably made in, you know, 2 or 3 fights, 4 fights. So, you know, it was almost like just a money grab in a way. And I don't want this fight to end up being that because I think these two guys, because of Undisputed, because of the 5-year, 4-year wait for the fight to actually happen, they gotta bring it, man, for the sport of boxing. They gotta really put on a show. They gotta really show people that boxing is back. Boxing is not just a secondary sport to MMA now.
I'm not trying to, you know, rain on nobody's parade. But, you know, truth be told, man, these young guys aren't getting the lessons, bruh.
Boxing is just not that other sport you watch when there's 2 superstar fighters. Because I think that's the problem with boxing. That we don't get the great fights all the time. So people only really tune in when there's superstar fights. When there are fights of mega star status like Spence and Crawford, like Pacquiao Mayweather, you know, like Fury and Wilder, you know, Canelo such and such. You know, it seems like, well, with the exception of Canelo, because of the Hispanic people, they always tune in. With guys like Canelo, you know, everybody else is struggling to get views. It's 100,000, 200,000. You know, it should be 1 million like it was back in the day. The average Manny Pacquiao fight was doing 1 million buys back in the day. The average Floyd Mayweather fight was doing 1 million buys back in the day. And I want boxing to get back there. And it's going to take for these two guys to put on a show.
Look at all these niggas in here. There's enough niggas in here to make a Tarzan movie.
Now, if it doesn't go 5 rounds, you can best believe this is going to be one for the history books because neither one of these guys have lost. Neither one of these guys have ever really been down and hurt in their career. Neither one of these guys have been beaten up badly in their career. Neither one of these guys have been in a situation to where they might not be as famous as they are now the night after the fight, you know. So it's going to be crazy to see how all of this plays out, how people perceive this fight, how these guys go into the fight, how these guys play the fight out, how historic will this fight be at the end of the day, and how many people will actually tune in to watch this history get made with Undisputed.
Both want to be in the history books. We both want to, you know, have a great fight. And I just feel like you putting us together is like, you know, putting, you know, 2 pits in the cage together and the 2 fighting pit bulls. And, you know, they both smell blood. The only way to get out the cage is somebody got to die. I think that's going to be both our mentalities come fight night.
Do I agree with Floyd Mayweather that this fight is so big that it won't go past 5 rounds? I do think that the talent levels are high enough for a Clash of the Titans style fight. But I think it's going to be one-sided. I don't know exactly. You know, I'm not a wizard. I can't look into my crystal ball and say, well, it went exactly for this guy or exactly for that guy. But I am riding with Errol Spence. I do think Errol Spence is going to win. So I think it'll be a dominant performance on his accord. Now, to end it off, will a dominant performance be history-making? You know, it depends on how dominant he is. If he's super dominant and knocks him out in 5 rounds, it's one for the history books, even though the other side, the Crawford side, is never going to want to watch that fight ever again. The Errol Spence fans will be watching that, you know, on repeat for the next year or so.
I know you can do it, man. You got the, man, shut that soft ass shit up, man. You ain't with me.
So, you know, it's going to really depend how the fight plays out. If it's not dominant, then I want a 12-round banger on both sides. I want both of these guys to bring it, and let's let the best man win. And if there's a knockout scored in the 12th round or it goes to the scorecards, you know, as long as the fight was historic and classical, I don't really care who wins, but I'm still riding with Earl. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. The like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tubes. So holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feature a product or your channel on my channel, then hit my Gmail, because it is a flock of cards at gmail.com. And we
niggas act hard, tryna make their lifestyle tougher. Go and get their head busted like a lifestyle rubber, and you might sound tougher if you was a little more like me. Ain't no telling where your whore might be on them Bill streets. Them niggas don't fuck around. Have your ass in the wheelchair, buckle down, paralyzed from the belly button down, riding through the park, showing off your hover round. Shit, young niggas don't play. Nigga like me come through with a K. Young Keys go bar for bar. The reason your favorite rappers in the armored car. I'm trying to conquer the ville and move on. Fuck stepping, I got my ass kicking shoes on. After that, I'm getting a new pair. Y'all remind me of a nigga that do her. Chances are you're probably gay. Keys play too much is what you probably say. But hey, I just gotta be Mike, man. I'm grimy as the alleys at night, man. I'm about to get it poppin' like raggedy bike chains. Oh, let me catch my breath. You're about to catch your death from Young Keys, the freestyle emperor, pimping your chicken, bruh. Then I'm slipping dick in her. This is for my cousin Wayne. Back in 98, some buster slayed him. July 25, 1981. Alright, mom's had her tubes tied. I survived, must have been a sign, still couldn't be denied, motherfucker. Young Keys come through, spotless, chicks topless. Watch how I rock this. Wait a minute, hold up. Wait a minute, hold up. Wait a minute, and I'm back in this bitch. I left this hoe alone, now I'm back with this bitch. She heard that I be rapping and shit. Spectacular spit. I'm about to get the album cracking. It's about to happen. Plus I got an ounce of action. Niggas get bounced for taxing. Oh, I better get 4 for my 2 and my O. 4 blunts for dubs, whole stunt for us. We bust the club looking clean in the regal. Blowing outside like weed is legal. And plus I show love when I see my people. Like yeah, you can hit that, just give me my shit back. And then I kick back and smoke a big black. Them chicks want the big black.